Hey there, lovely listeners. Welcome to Uniquely Wired Podcast. I'm your host, Nani. On this podcast, we uncover the beauty and nature of autism through heartfelt conversations. Let's jump in. What's up, podcast fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Uniquely Wired podcast. I am so happy to do this episode with two special guests. We have Miss Debbie and Mr. Eddie, who will be joining us very soon on the podcast. And she is one of the founders of I Can Living and Learning organization, which she is going to be sharing with you what this organization is about and what is their focus when it comes to the special needs community. So, Debbie, please take over and let us know who you are and then tell us a little bit about the organization.
Thank you for having us on. I started a company with two other friends that we've been able to be helping people for, will be 9 years in July. The name of our company is I Can Living and Learning Center. And it's been a pleasure because we've changed a lot of people's lives by helping people to see that they can do anything they really want to do and finding appropriate jobs with managers and staff that understand that everybody needs a chance and that giving people a chance with disabilities to work.
Yeah, I love that. And how about you? Tell us where you guys are at. And what made you do this though? What was something that made
Ugh.
you lead into this?
Well, I've always been involved working with people and children with disabilities. I have a degree in special ed. It's been my heart. I had a cousin growing up as a child who had a severe intellectual disability, and it touched my life. And ever since that, this has been my dream is to help as many people as possible. I worked at other agencies and doing this, working for other companies. And I got to a point where I said, I don't want to have to go to somebody and say, can I help this person or can I do that? And that's why I started my own nonprofit, is to be able to help as many people as I can. And I don't have to ask anybody because I can just do whatever I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and when you say I can means a lot of things to a lot of people. The reason why I named it I Can Living and Learning Center is because I believe that everybody can do something. I mean, it doesn't just affect working, it affects, I can get through a divorce, I can get through chemo, I can do anything. So I Can affects everyone. And that's why I named my company I Can Living and Learning Center.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. I love that. And I think you answered pretty much the first question. And how you guys support, how do you uniquely support individuals with disabilities, or as Eddie says, unique abilities in finding meaningful employment. So can you just share like deeper into that and how does that process looks? For example, if someone goes to your organization, to your office and brings their child that's, an adult already out of high school and it's needed employment, what are those steps? How does that, what does
Well,
that look like?
what every state has this. So I'm in South Florida. I work from Miami all the way to Vero Beach, but people everywhere need to understand that each state has a Department of Vocational Rehab. And when you go to the Department of Vocational Rehab, you bring your information to prove that you have a disability. They will test you to see if you're employable. Once it comes, through the testing that they see that you are employable, they'll give you a goal, and that's something where your strengths are, and then we'll go out in the community and try to find you a job within that goal.
Mm,
It's finding the right job, it's finding the right employer, it's making sure it's close to their home. There's a lot that goes into finding the right job. We're not looking to just get somebody a job for a few months. We're looking for a home and a place where someone can
mm,
go to work and feel a part of the staff and want to go to work and be a part of it. That's what it
yeah.
is. Everybody wants to be valued and deserves a chance.
Absolutely, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I appreciate that so much because I'm sure there are moms or dads listening right now, to this episode. And um, this is one of most likely of many of their worries. When you are a special needs parent, you worry so much about a lot of things, especially when it comes to future. The present, obviously, you're able to control and you're getting your things done, but when it comes to the future, it's like, what can that look like, right? What will that look like? Because I could be today here, but tomorrow I may not be here. And I know for me, this gives me a lot of hope, and it makes me look forward to, like, man, my children can and they will be able to find employment because there are people like yourself, like Eddie, like Karen, who's not on here, um, that are actually passionate for doing this and see the ability and see the able in children like mine. And so I appreciate that so much. Okay, so now we're going to have the amazing Eddie. And I have a question for him. I actually have two questions for him, but we're going to start with the first one. There he goes. So, Eddie, can you share how your personal journey with a disability, right, with a unique ability, has shaped your approach to motivational speaking and consulting? Because this is something that you do for the organization.
Well, my personal journey growing up with a disability, unique ability, does not stop me from pursuing my dreams. I have been bullied in school, kids making fun of me, laughing at me, calling me retarded. My mother, a single parent, who raised me, she she was by herself with no help. She never gave up on me,
Mm,
and and yeah, and my mother said, even though I have Down syndrome, it is just a meaningless word. She saw I can and I will succeed at whatever I try to do. I did succeed as an
yeah.
athlete, Special Olympics advocate, an actor. I acted on TV, in movies, in a Broadway play. My mother never gave up on me, and I believe in yourself, and hear me, which I want to do the monologue.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
they used to tell me I couldn't do things.
Mm, right. And here you are doing more than you could have even imagined, right? You're helping the community, you're helping other people, that might look like you, to have employment, and you are encouraging them and reminding them that if you can do it, they can too. Right?
Yeah, right. I actually wanted to finish the monologue if I would like.
Yeah,
Um,
we're gonna do that toward the end of this
all right.
episode. For sure. You're gonna be able to share your speech monologue because I think the listeners will really appreciate that. So thank you so much, Eddie, for answering that question. Debbie, back to you. I wanted to know, what are some of the biggest barriers adults with special needs face in retaining employment, and how does ICANN address these challenges? Oh, you're muted. Um, there you
First of
go.
all, everybody's an individual, so everybody's way of being is different. We advocate, so there are challenges because people are people, and sometimes maybe a manager will change. That could be an issue when a manager doesn't understand a person's unique abilities. Sometimes I tell parents, which is very, very important. I mean, we're all very very worried and, protective of our children. But you've got to early on have your children do as much as they can and be as independent as possible. Because sometimes parents hold their children back because of their fears of people not understanding or someone taking advantage. So it's very important when they're young to push them to do as much as they can, help in the house, do the laundry, learn to take the dishes off the table, all these things that are skills to get them ready for working, and just being positive with your child and telling them that you can do anything you want. I think a lot of people with disabilities have been told they can't do it for so long that they have no self-worth. And that's what we do. We build up people to understand, and we place them in jobs where they're going to succeed. And
Yeah.
and another thing is very important is that when a person has the unique ability, and that we'll do is we'll go get a job, we'll get them a job, and they may need an accommodation, but that doesn't mean because you have a unique ability that you're able to come to work late or be disrespectful or anything that you wouldn't expect from somebody who doesn't have that disability. So that's very important. And I tell employers, like, I want you to hire this client because they can do the job. It doesn't matter what their challenges are. It's
Yeah.
about what can they do. And I got to tell you, I've worked with every disability, and finding a home and finding the right job. And, a lot of some of our clients are on the spectrum, and people on the spectrum, one kind of disability, they are so meticulous, and they care, and
Yeah.
they're some of the best employees.
Yeah.
Or, and also a lot of disabilities you don't see. Okay.
Hmm.
So you could be working with people and not even know they have a disability. So
Yeah.
it's just being kind and working as a team and learning from each other.
Yeah. I you touch on a lot of things. It's just so good. I loved when you said, parents getting their children involved at such a young age. I think a lot of the times we limit our children because of a diagnosis, and we're like, well, no, they can't do this. No, they can't do this. And we automatically add into our vocabulary, they can't, right? When in reality, they can do it. We have to speak life to our children. We have to speak life to those around us. So, whatever is going to come out of your mouth, it's what's going to reflect in your child or in that person. And that goes whether you're a parent or you're a manager yourself listening right now, and you're someone that, you're hiring people. And maybe you are finding yourself like, man, I've rejected a few people that have disability because I didn't know how to deal with it. That's okay. The point is, moving forward, you want to learn how to do the right thing, right? And how to do it in a compassionate manner. I think that's very important. For me, both of my kids are autistic and non-speaking as of right now. And, every time I'm washing clothes, I'm involving them, especially when they're home. My son is home now with me because I'm homeschooling him at the moment. So, I try to do a lot of life skills with him. To me, it's just very important. Because as they get older, I feel like their confidence is going to continue to grow, and they're not going to be afraid to face the real world and try to find themselves a job and get out there, right? So, yeah, don't be afraid, parents. Do not be afraid. So, thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, my last question for Eddie before he shares his speech monologue, because I know he wants to share it. Eddie, I want to know, okay, what advice would you give to individuals with special needs who may be struggling, right? Um, with self-confidence, or perhaps navigating misconceptions as they pursue their goals. So what advice will you give them? Oh, you're muted, Eddie. I'm sorry. We got to unmute you. There you go.
My advice to them is to never give up, to believe in yourself, and reach for the stars. We have the same needs as all of you. We need love, respect, and camaraderie too, and we belong in the mainstream of life. And I actually have been through jobs, building resumes. I've worked all over. And since I went to I Can Living and Learning with Debbie when she got me a job at 2J's and the Chicken Salad Chick, it was great to get out of the house and do something than doing nothing at all. And because of her company, it changed my life. And I hope that this company will actually change yours.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much, Eddie. So, Eddie, I know you want to share a speech monologue with us, and you are now free to do that.
Right?
I think, our listeners are going to be blessed by what you are going to share with us.
You know, they used to tell me I couldn't do things. I'm not just a label. I'm not just a diagnosis. I'm a person with hopes and dreams, just like you. I may take a little longer to learn things. I may struggle to find my words. But that doesn't mean I can't understand. It doesn't mean I can't feel. I have a heart that beats just like everyone else. I have so much to give, to contribute to the world. I may not be the same as you, but that's what makes me unique. I may have disabilities, but I have abilities too. I have a voice, and I want it to be heard. I'm tired of being underestimated. So don't judge me by my limitations. Don't judge me by what you see on the surface. Get to know me, and you might just find that I am stronger and more determined, more than you can ever imagine. I am more than my disabilities. I'm a human being with a story to tell, and I'm not going to let anyone silence me just because they're uncomfortable. Walk a mile in my shoes and then tell me how comfortable you feel.
Wow. Oh my God, Eddie, you got me ready to cry. You got me ready to cry, Eddie. Wow, thank you so much for sharing that. That was so, so beautiful.
Right,
Is there
thanks.
anything you would like to share with the listeners that, how about this, Eddie? Those moms or dads that are listening to this episode and, maybe they are feeling down, they are feeling, like giving up. Um, they just don't know what to do with their child who was just diagnosed with either ADHD, autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. There's so many out there. um what is something, a word of encouragement that you will leave them with before we end this episode?
I want all the parents, moms and dads, mothers, grandmothers, to encourage your children to not give up on yourself. Even if you feel down in the dumps and you're having a bad day, wake up in the morning with a smile on your face and say, I'm healthy. I have my senses. I can see. I can hear. I go to work every day to accomplish something in life and say that I can do it. Not I can't. There's no such word as I can't with I can living and learning. And I want every parent to know, if everyone is listening right now, to never give up on your child, no matter who they are and what they appear to be. Judge someone on the inside of the heart that counts. Don't judge a book by its cover. And I would tell every one of you who's listening from different countries abroad. I feel from deep from within my heart and soul to come join and be included in ICANN Living and Learning. Not only will your company help you, we have job coaches that will help you. They helped me, and what happened? I proved people wrong. And I tell everyone, you can judge me all you want. You can label me. But take a look at me now.
Come on. Mm-hmm.
And all the parents who are listening right now, I'm telling you this. This cannot get any better.
Yeah.
Life is good. It is a blessing to be with
Yeah.
ICANN Living and Learning. It's a blessing to be with Debbie, the most beautiful, pretty person that I've ever put up with. I love putting up with her. And because of Debbie and ICANN Living and Learning,
Yes.
my life changed. Look at this smile. This smile is never coming on my face. And a smile will not come off your children's face. Because I
Yeah.
know that my mother tears up inside.
Mm.
And she gave me 47 happiest years of my life. I love you, Mother. Thank you for not giving up on me. And I don't want anyone putting their child in an institution. Get up, do what you want in life, and succeed.
Mm.
And thank you, Nanny, for including us in this podcast.
Yeah.
It will go around the world, and I have faith in this podcast. And I know for a fact that this ICANN Living and Learning will change your life. It changed
Yeah.
mine. And guess what? It will change yours. And it will happen right now.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Eddie. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Um, I'm sure people were encouraged by your beautiful words and your speech. Debbie, before we close, what is your advice and your encouragement for those families that are currently in that season of life, searching for employment, or maybe they're currently right now just battling, do I put my child in a group home? Do I keep trying? And I know that with everybody, it's so many different situations, right? I have families on social media that are going through that season where they are placing their child in a group home, and as heartbreaking as it is for them, they have their reasons why they're doing that, and then you have families that are right now like, oh my God, my daughter or my son are graduating high school and I don't know what to do. The school's not helping me, because let's be real, there are schools out there that unfortunately just don't guide parents, don't help them, and they find themselves like, well, I guess I'm just going to keep them home, right? So what is your like emergency alert advice for those families right now that are listening?
First of all, are you going to put my information? I am always,
Yes.
I am anybody. I don't care where you live. You can call me if I can help you in any way, guide you. It'd be my pleasure. That's what I do. Fortunately, I work in South Florida, so we job coach and help people get jobs in this area. But I'd be willing to help anyone. They can call me, email me, give the best advice. The best advice is it's also, what does your child want? You have to really, your child has to want to work. It can't be the parent saying, you need to work. Well, first of all, it should be starting early on. I have clients that haven't worked and they're 31 years old and they're sitting home and they have no responsibilities. And now the parents want them to work. Well, if you had a child that's typical, should get a job as a teenager, should get out in the world. They need to be treated just like any other child. Okay.
Yeah.
Then as far as group home goes, you know what? There are such wonderful group homes. And you know what? people that have typical children go off to college or go live on their own. I think group homes, if it's the right group home, is wonderful to live with your friends, to be able to learn independence. It's not like it was many, many years ago. There's such wonderful programs out there. So parents should understand that they're entitled to have their happy time and their time to enjoy their life. And a group home is not a bad thing. It's a as long as it's a safe environment, it's what's natural is that your children need to move on and grow and be as independent as possible, because none of us will be here forever. So the biggest thing I can say to parents is let your child be independent. Stop saying, well, they can't. And if they fail, they fail. Everybody has to try and try, and we all fail. No parent wants their child to fail, but that's how we learn. So that's the biggest gift I can give. And
Yeah.
jobs change people's lives. They change the people they work with, because if you're working with someone who has a disability, you can say, well, if they can do it, why can't I be on time? So look how my child works. I'm proud. So working brings happiness to everyone's life. So
Yeah.
it's very, very important for self-worth.
Yes, I love everything you said. I mean, I
It's
can't even
my
add into
heart.
that. Everything was so spot on. And thank you for the clarification on group home, because I feel like a lot of people have such a negative thinking about it. But I think, yes, are there group homes out there that are probably just a mess and they're just not the greatest? I'm sure, just like there's jobs out there that are not the greatest, and there's people out there that are not the greatest, but I think we shouldn't go, like Eddie said, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't just go based on what you're seeing. Give it a try, check it out, see if it's the best placement for your child. And I think you also said something really good about, oh, now my child needs a job or something, or you're telling them to go find a job when you haven't really, from the beginning set that ground, and gotten them pretty much started to, like, listen, this is how the real world is going to be, right? So now we can't place these crazy expectations on our adult children to be like, now you need a job. I think giving them choice so they feel like, okay, I'm independent, I can choose for myself, right? I can. There it goes again. So they can choose for themselves. Okay, yes, I would like to work. They also
One quick
just don't
thing, if
learn.
I could say,
Yeah,
if you don't mind. The
sure.
biggest two things I want to say. The biggest thing is advocating. Advocate for your child. Okay. Before you put them in a group home, you do your homework, you check it out. If you're not comfortable with the job coach, or you're not comfortable, you need to advocate for your child, and your child needs to learn how to advocate. And that's what's really important. And I just want to say something really quickly. Well, with about ICANN, and I've been really lucky because I have two wonderful business partners and a great staff. But there are two young ladies that are they're in school, and they have done so much for this organization with their parents, Nicole and Karen. And if anyone's interested or would like to get involved, children that are in high school that need community service hours, what we do is we make bracelets that say I can, and then we give them out to everyone. And if somebody wants to give a donation, that's great. If not, just to wear it. And it's very motivating. And when you're having a hard day, you look down at your bracelet and you go, wow, I can. Or if someone's having a really hard day, you take off your bracelet and you give it to someone else. So if anyone out there needs a bracelet, please don't hesitate, and we will send it to you. And
Yeah, and
again,
I
my
need to pick
information,
mine up from the PO box.
yeah. But I
Terrible.
got to tell you, did you get yours?
I
Did you?
know she sent them, but I haven't gotten the chance to go to the post office, especially with
Okay.
Thanksgiving and all the stuff that happened recently.
But
Um,
I got to tell you, so if anyone out there is a high schooler who would like to start this program, making bracelets and need
yes,
community service hours,
yes,
we would be happy to be involved with that. And just, I give them to everyone,
I love
and
that. I love that because it's a statement that it's for everyone. It's not just with those with special needs. It's for all of us cuz I mean, I know I have my own unique ability which is ADHD, right? And it's let me
so do
just
I.
say there's some great traits in it, okay? But I know I can't wait to wear mines and just be reminded of like you can, Nani, you can get through this day. You can deal with your children and their meltdowns and all the fun stuff. Um, so it'll be a great reminder. But yes, everything is going to be down in the show notes below their website, their Instagram page. Um, and Debbie's email and all their information is going to be down below. Eddie's Instagram as well is going to be down below. So I just want to thank you both for being part of this podcast, being on this episode right before we end the year, which is a blessing. And yes, Eddie, I am so grateful for you and Debbie and Karen, who's not here, but love her lots as well. I know she'll be watching this. But yeah, I am just so, so grateful that I got the chance to do this with you both. And I just know it's going to be a blessing. And that speech, Eddie, you nailed it. Okay. You
It's from your
nailed it. That's all I'm saying. You did that. um,
Mm, I am a consultant for Handling and Learning, so come to me if you need something.
And Eddie does when we have clients that are having a hard day, he'll call them and give them a pep talk. He really gives so much of himself. So
I
I'm
love
blessed to
that.
have him as a friend and as a part of ICANN Living and Learning. And
Yeah.
who's having a big birthday Friday?
I am
Tell everybody how old you're going to be.
47 years old this coming Friday.
So we're going to
Wow.
celebrate big.
Well, happy birthday, Eddie, ahead of time from the Uniquely Wired podcast and everyone that's listening. Well, thank you guys so much. Everyone that's listening, don't forget to share this episode, like it, and be sure to get in contact with Debbie and Eddie and Karen if you have any questions about employment, if you want to get your child started in this as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you again on another episode of the Uniquely Wired podcast. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Uniquely Wired Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing this space with me. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share. Until next time.